Hello everyone, welcome to Gent Watches. I don't know where you're watching this video. I don't know if it's on, I think it will be on my Patreon account publicly. It might be on my backup channel, I'm not quite sure. But regardless, I run a YouTube channel called Gent Watches where I watch mostly anime, but a lot of different TV shows and react to them and review them. And I am doing this video to talk about my trip recently to the CrunchyRoll Expo in Melbourne. So this is the first CrunchyRoll Expo Australia, and I think that's an important enough reason to talk about it, because there's quite a bit of stuff that I want to talk about with this video, and I'm just gonna do an entire summary of the trip, of what happened, stuff that includes stuff in the convention and outside of it, events that I went to within the convention, problems that I might have had, and just generally go over stuff. I also have some photos and videos from the trip, not that many. It was kind of hard to, find time essentially to continuously record and take photos while also rushing around and experiencing everything. And a bit of a disclaimer straight up, right now, I'm gonna let you know that my voice, you may notice, is kind of croaky and I'm coughing a bit. There are some issues. I am a little sick and a little worn out from the trip. But this is a couple days after the trip. I've had some time to think about it. I've had a little bit of time to rest, so I'm ready to make this video. So I hope you enjoy this. If you're watching this, I hope you enjoy watching me talk about my trip to the CrunchyRoll Expo Melbourne. So, I live in Australia, but I live in Adelaide, and my previous experience, this is just a bit of a summary of context behind me going to this expo. I have been to two conventions in Melbourne in the past, and that was the MadFest conventions. I believe it was 2018 and 2019 when I went to the conventions there. And then now, they took a break in doing conventions because a little thing called COVID-19 hit. I don't know if you've heard about it. So that happened, and then they weren't doing conventions for a while, and now they're back, but under the name CrunchyRoll Expo. I say under the name, I'm not exactly sure the particulars of it, but I'm pretty sure some of the major players behind MadFest are also behind CrunchyRoll Expo, and that's why I say that. So I have experience going to, some experience going to these anime conventions. I also love to use this as an excuse to see some of my friends. I have friends who live in Melbourne, Sydney, and Tasmania mostly, that we like to gather together at this one place. I live in Adelaide, Australia, and we all gather together in Melbourne for these things because we like anime, and we always use this as a good opportunity to see one another because we don't get to see each other very often. So that is also what I use this trip for. Now, I'm going to be talking about in this video the convention itself. I'm going to be talking about my overall trip briefly. I'm going to be talking about things that I saw at the convention. I'm going to show photos and videos hopefully where I can. And first up, talking about the convention, I am also going to mention that I was one person who received a media pass for this convention, which means CrunchyRoll Expo provided me with a pass that I was able to use to essentially get into places a bit easier, it kind of make sure that I was able to get a spot in certain events when, some other people might not have been able to get there because there was too big a line or whatever. Essentially, Media Pass makes it easier for you to get that sort of stuff. The reason I got a Media Pass, other than having this channel, I applied for it, and I applied for it with this channel, obviously, but also with the fact that I've done media content in the past. I've made videos in the past about previous conventions, just not on this channel. I did a previous YouTube channel that had over 100,000 subscribers, and I would do videos on that channel with about anime conventions and stuff. So I do make content generally out of these conventions, and that's why I was given a media pass. I will say this year, the way they handled the media passes was iffy, I will say, because they were a little late in sending out the media passes. They said on the application that they will send them out no later than this date, and then a week after that date they sent out the media passes. So I and my friends all assumed that we didn't get media passes and bought tickets to the CrunchyRoll Expo, and then they sent them out and there was no refunds for the tickets. So we just wasted money essentially, because the media passes double as tickets. So I did actually pay full admission to go to the CrunchyRoll Expo. I didn't get like a free pass in. I actually did pay money and then also got a free pass on top of that. So I wish they kind of were a bit, better about that. They were apparently behind on a lot of the stuff they were sending out, and that's not great. I don't think the communication wasn't very good, and I think they were super behind on a lot of stuff. And I think that is sort of indicative of a lot of the stuff that happened with the CrunchyRoll Expo, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I had a great time at the expo. I had a really good time. I will say that up front, and I'm not disparaging the CrunchyRoll Expo as a whole. I just think there were some organizational issues, and I think other people, you can probably find other people online who have much harsher opinions or much, stronger opinions. I am not going to pretend that I wasn't lucky, because I, having access to a media pass, was able to bypass a lot of the problems that other people were having. So if you're looking for criticism on the convention, or like why exactly people might be criticizing it, you'll probably have to look elsewhere, just because I didn't experience it firsthand. But I'll mention that briefly. So I got here's a quick summary of the other stuff that I did in Melbourne, just while we're talking about it. I met up with my friends while I was there, just had a good time with them. I had ramen for the first time in my life. I mean, I always see ramen in anime and stuff, and I know the concept of ramen, and I've had the individual ingredients from ramen but I've never had it all in one thing. We were going past the ramen place. Someone was like, should we get ramen? I was like, I've never had ramen. And then we went in and got ramen. So, I'm just slurping up some ramen here. Went shopping to a bunch of different places, obviously. That's a big thing. Went bowling. Just me and my friends, we love going bowling, and we didn't do it much, so I suck at bowling. I sort of get it sometimes, like I'll have a few moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I get it, I understand bowling, and I'll hit like spare and strike, and then I'll lose it completely, and then it's just like guttable, and I don't understand. I don't know what changes. It's embarrassing, but I'm going to try to show the scores on the screen, because I lost all of those, both of those matches pretty badly, but it was still a lot of fun. We went to a video game bar thing in Melbourne as well. It's one of those things, you go to a bar and you can order food and you can order drinks, and you get your own little booth, and they set you up with a console, and you can just play video games with your friends while eating food and stuff. So I had a chicken parmigiana while playing games with friends. We had a Nintendo Switch. We played the Super Mario Golf game. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. But the Mario Golf game, we played that and had quite a good time. I enjoyed that game. We wanted to try it out. I was disappointed. I was sad that they didn't have Mario Strikers. That's a game I've wanted to try out. I haven't ever played Mario Strikers, but I'm more of a soccer fan than I am a golf fan, and I thought it sounded really cool, but they didn't have it, so we just played Mario Golf. We also did a cool escape room. I would recommend, if you ever go to Melbourne, and you're a fan of escape rooms, they have a few cool escape rooms. We did one many years ago that was like set in a sci-fi space AI thing. and you talk to an AI throughout the escape room, and then he tells you what to do, and you can converse with him, and that was really cool. And then also in this escape room, this was a sort of one that was like a Japanese, you're in like a Japanese garden, and there's a scarecrow that you're talking to, and the scarecrow answers back, like you talk to it, and then there's someone clearly on the other side with a soundboard, and they just like click their responses. It's really cool, and it was really immersive, and it had some of my favorite, like I've done quite a decent amount of escape rooms. It had some of my favorite escape room moments ever. It was really good. A little bit on the pricey side, but absolutely worth it, I would say. So yeah, I would recommend, if you're in Melbourne, try out some of the escape rooms. So let's now talk about the convention, which is what I am here to talk about. I just wanted to mention those things because it's all part of the trip. But let's talk about the convention. So firstly, did I cosplay? Yes, I did. I went in cosplay to the first day. There were 2 days. I went in cosplay on the first day. The second day, I didn't really bother cosplaying. I just put on a jacket and a My Hero Academia jersey. Like I've got it's sort of like a sports jersey, and it's got MHA stuff on it. And so I wore that on the second day because I just, wanted to just walk around and relax on that day. But on the first day, I wanted to cosplay. Now, in previous years, I cosplayed as 1 year I cosplayed as Todoroki from My Hero Academia, and so I had the sports uniform from MHA, and I had the scar and the wig and everything, and that was a lot of fun. And then in a later year, I mildly cosplayed as Ida from MHA, and by that I mean I just wore the same sports uniform and I just put on some glasses. I just did that because I couldn't be bothered cosplaying really, but I thought I might as well do a lazy one. This year I wanted to do another lazy one, and I say lazy, I mean more I didn't want to spend any extra money or that much extra money on it. So I decided okay, I'm gonna do another MHA cosplay, but I want it to be different. But I also want people to be able to immediately look at me and go, oh, I think I know who they are. So I decided to do Mina Ashido from My Hero Academia, which is the pink girl, if you've ever seen the show or pictures of the show. It's the pink girl in the class. I was doing a male version of her, obviously. And basically, all I did was I got a wig. One of my friends, Sam, she had a wig that she was able to dye pink for me, which is very kind of her. And then I got pink makeup, face makeup, and covered my body in it, and bam, I was somewhat Mina Ashido from MHA, and I was pretty happy with it, It wasn't perfect, but it was very quick to do, and it stood out a little bit, and that's all it really needed to be, right? So we went to the convention. Myself and my friends, we all arrived at the convention center, and immediately there was quite a big line there. But again, luckily, we had media passes, and we were able to just bypass the line. I kind of feel bad for saying that, because it's I know a lot of people would have waited a long time in line. But that's also part of the reason you have media passes. You ensure that you can get in and be able to do the stuff so that you can talk about it in a video like this, because I know there were actually some people who weren't able to get in to the CrunchyRoll Expo, and again, I'll talk about that in a second. Actually, I'll talk about it now. This is a good time to talk about it. So apparently, the CrunchyRoll Expo had some issues where some people actually, I think, were not able to get in at all. There was a big line, and eventually they stopped letting people in. Now I read, and this is speculation on my part because I don't know if what I read was true. I didn't fact check it, but I read someone say that they were accepting refunds essentially, but then they were also still selling tickets on their website while not letting people in. And if that's the case, that's not good. But I don't know if that is true or not. So I don't take that with a huge grain of salt. But yeah, there were people apparently who weren't able to get in, and that is not a good thing, because if it was me, if me and my friends did not have the media pass and we were lining up and then we weren't able to get in, like we had come from all over Australia to come on that trip. We had, you know, spent all of this time planning and, you know, getting the money together and being able to do this. If we weren't able to get in, then like that's not just, we'll just refund your ticket. Like it wasn't just the cost of the ticket, it was the cost of like the plane rides and the accommodation and all the food and stuff. Like that's a lot of money that's you know, it was put towards this trip. So I imagine there were other people who were in that situation, and if you're one of those people, I'm really sorry to hear that, because that is terrible. But yeah, luckily I didn't have to deal with that. I know I also saw some people talk about how the convention was really loud. I will say I did not personally experience that, and I don't quite know what people were talking about, with one exception. I think at one point in the main stage part, there was a like something that happened that we heard that was particularly loud, and yeah, but that just seemed like like one time, you know, that was only for like a couple minutes while they were playing ads on the TV at some point. I also heard some other people say that the Mob Psycho premiere was loud. I was in the Mob Psycho premiere, so I don't really know what it sounded like from the outside. And I mean, that's unfortunate, but at the same time, like, that's one of the main events. I think it would be kind of bad if the people in the Mob Psycho premiere couldn't hear the show, because that's like one of the reasons they came. And then if they couldn't hear what they were watching, like, that would kind of suck. So I don't know, that's kind of a bad trade-off. But also, like, that's also poor planning on CrunchyRoll Expo's behalf, because there are other stages in the convention center, and at MadFest they actually rented out these other rooms. And so, like, if you wanted to watch a premiere, for example, you go into this theater that's completely separate from the expo, and you go watch it in there. And that was really good. We watched stuff in those theaters, and they were really good. But in this expo, they were just literally curtained off areas. So it was that wasn't that great, because it wasn't an awesome experience to watch stuff in that scenario. But it wasn't terrible. Like, they did a decent job with what they had. But since I went to MadFest in a previous year, like, I knew what they were capable of, you know. So yeah, there were some problems on the convention floor. I also talked to a few artists. I was chatting with some artists as I was like buying stuff from them. The artists were very, very kind and awesome. A lot of the artists that I talked to, if you're one of the artists on those floors, like, there were some really cool people there. I talked to some artists, and some of them were mentioning how they were also having some problems with communication with CrunchyRoll, and that the artists were getting emails at bad times, and there was a few issues that they were talking about which sounded really frustrating and unfortunate. And I also personally kind of did have a bit of a problem as well, in that I feel like the expo not only didn't communicate the media passes stuff to us very well, but also to each other, where we talked to the info booth on the first day about like what we're entitled to with the media pass and what exactly we should do, and we were told, like, you know, if you show your pass to the people when you're going into the events, they generally will just let you in. Like, that's the idea, right? You show the media pass and they let you in because you're media. And it's the same as basically being VIP. You have a VIP pass, you get in. You have the media pass, you get in as if you're a VIP. And so that's what we were told on the first day. And for the most part, for 90% of the convention, that was true. We showed people the media pass. They went, oh yeah, you're media, come on through. Except for one thing, and that was the Hololive Event. During the Hololive Event, we specifically didn't line up, because what's the point of lining up if we're going to then leave the line and go up to the front and show them the media pass? So we didn't line up, but then we showed up, and showed up a bit early, and went up to the person and went, okay, so we have the media pass, just making sure we're going to get through. And then they said that we weren't supposed to do that, and we're supposed to get in the regular line. And at this point, the regular line was already like massive. Okay, so if we got in the regular line, I don't know if we're gonna get into the panel. Like, I think it went too far back, we weren't gonna get in, or if we were gonna be like super far at the back or whatever. So we were saying like, but this isn't what we were told at the info desk. We talked to them for a while. It basically took about 10-15 minutes of back and forth talking to them, and them going asking other people. It seemed like no one had any idea what was going on. And then eventually they conceded to us to allow us to stand. Like, instead of getting a seat in there, we would stand in there, which we said was okay. We didn't mind that much having to stand during the thing, so that's not a big deal. But like being in the standing room was essentially the same as being like near the back of the line. So that was kind of weird, because it felt like, you know, we were essentially being relegated to the back of the line again. Like, it was strange. I don't know what was going on, and I think they did not communicate at all with anyone, and I don't think that should really be happening with media passes. But yeah, so there were some problems. Those were the convention problems. So let's talk about some of the fun stuff now. Cosplays. There was some cool cosplays. That's one of my favorite parts of going to conventions, is just like, even when you're just sitting there anywhere in a convention, you just look around and you just watch the people walk by, because there are so many cosplays. In previous years, I've gotten lots of photos with people in cosplays, because I think that's really fun and cute, and I like doing that. But it also requires overcoming like a social hurdle of like asking strangers to get a photo with you. And I've had a few people in the past, like not many, maybe 2 people in the past, that I have asked them to get a photo, and they agreed to do it, but they seemed like confused and hesitant about it, and that's kind of sad when that happens. But yeah, saw a lot of cosplays. I mean, you can see me in a picture with Monokuma. It's maybe the real Monokuma, but that guy was kind of cool. There were a lot of people getting photos with him, but he was, you know, big costume, really cool. There are a billion Spy Family cosplays out there, which is pretty awesome, because I'm a huge Spy Family fan. I've read all the manga and watched all the anime so far. I love Spy Family so much, and it was so cool to see, like, everywhere you looked. There were a bunch of yours, a bunch of Lloyds, a bunch of Anyas, a bunch of Damiens. Like, it was so good to see so much representation of Spy Family everywhere. But there are a lot of other cool cosplays. There were some Danganronpa ones that I loved. Like, I'm talking about the stuff that I loved specifically. Yeah, like Danganronpa ones that I loved. There were a lot of decent Demon Slayer cosplays I saw out there. Hatsune Miku ones, you know, like there was a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, cosplays, really awesome. Now, there were some attractions there as well. Like, there were different, like, there was like a Chainsaw Man statue type thing, where it was just like a bunch of chainsaws coming out of an advertisement, but it looked pretty cool. Like, I kind of liked that. There was some games around, you know, for different things. We didn't see too much of that. There was a Spy Family room. I got a picture in the Spy Family room. It was a room made to look a little bit like the living room in Spy Family. And it was pretty solid. It was mostly there for a photo op, but what you could do then was you got a little booklet, and you could go around and take that booklet and stamp the booklet at 3 different locations where there were cardboard cutouts of the different Spy Family characters, and then once you did that, you get a badge at the end of it. Let me see if I can get the badge, because I put the badge on my jacket here. You might have seen it. There it is. It's a little Stellar Star from Spy Family, and so you get that if you do the entire little scavenger hunt thing. The scavenger hunt took us about 3 minutes. It was a very, very short and easy scavenger hunt. So, but that was good, you know. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, and I didn't. So that was fun. They also gave out this. So that's also cool, you know, like a little Anya thing that you can just have on your head. You can put in front of your face. On the other side, it has the hair on your face. So, you know, lots of cool stuff. They also had like a little, like they had cardboard cutouts of other characters as well. They had a Licorice Recoil one, so I got a little like stupid picture with Chisato where I look evil and weird. But yeah, they had some cool stuff. So second to last main thing I'm going to talk about is, and I'm losing my voice a little bit, but is the events that were going on. So I went to 3 main events, and that was the Hololive event. I went to the Jujutsu Kaisen voice actors event, and I went to the Mob Psycho premiere. So I'll talk about the Hololive first. In the Hololive event, it was Calliope Mori and Bay, as they you know, called in the equivalent of like a Zoom call in or whatever, and they just talked, screwed around, played some games with the audience, and then ended it with some singing. And as I said, we were standing during the entire thing because of what I was talking about earlier. But it was a very, very enjoyable panel. It was very cute. It was very funny. They were talking about a lot of funny stuff. You know, it was like classic Hololive stuff. It was like watching a Hololive stream, except you had the benefit of like you're kind of directly communicating with them, even though like I personally wasn't. Just the fact that the audience that I was a part of was communicating with them, it's kind of a cool feeling, you know. And like the fact that they're talking about, you know, Australia constantly and all of that, it's very cool. And obviously Bay is from Australia, and so there was some good humor that was coming out of that as well. But yeah, that was really cool. And then the karaoke that they did at the end was amazing. Both Callie and Bay did an incredible cover, and it was really, really good. So that was really entertaining. It was also kind of funny to see like the people around me, like see it. It's weird to see Hololive fans, you know. Like, I never really think about what Hololive fans look like or sound like, but then I was looking around me and seeing them, and like hearing them react to the jokes and seeing them react to the jokes. That's kind of strange for Hololive, like for VTubers, where sort of in the VTubing community, everyone's kind of anonymous. The VTubers are anonymous, the audience is anonymous. It's just like faceless people constantly laughing at everything. So I find it really cool to be in a crowd of faces watching it. Second thing is the Jujutsu Kaisen VAs. So it was Adam MacArthur, Kaiji Tang, and Ann Yatko. I hope I'm getting those names right. I am a fan of all of them. Not a massively insane fan. They're not like in my top voice actors, but I like them all. Adam MacArthur, I think is just like a very delightful, solid guy. Ann Yatko, I don't know that much about except for Nobara. Her performance as Nobara. I do love Nobara a lot. I've got a little Nobara and Android here, so I do love that character so much. So it was cool to see her there. And Kaiji Tang, I know pretty well from a lot of different stuff. He's got a great voice, and my main thing that I know him from is Danganronpa, but he's done a lot of stuff and he's really cool. That was a solid panel, you know, nothing to speak that much about. It was just voice actors talking and like having a good time and talking about getting into voice acting. There was nothing really special about it. The MC did a fine job. The voice actors were very delightful and funny and cool. But yeah, there was nothing to write home about in that. And finally, the Mob Psycho premiere. So they showed the first 2 episodes of Mob Psycho Season 3. I have now seen both of those episodes, so if and when I do Mob Psycho reactions on this channel, I'm pretty sure I will be, or on the Gent Watches channel. I don't know where I'm posting this video. If and when I do those videos, I will have already seen the first 2 episodes. And I will say, they were pretty solid episodes. I really enjoyed it. I am a big fan of the English dub of Mob Psycho. There are some things happening with the English dub of Season 3 that, you know, I'm not going to get into in this video, but I'm sure a lot of people have seen it all over Twitter and stuff. But of the first 2 seasons, I really, really loved the English dub. We were watching it in subbed version. So it was kind of a shame because you know, I'm so attached to the English voices, but it was still very, very enjoyable to watch. The first episode was like nice to get back into it and had some good character work. The second episode was really funny. Like I found some of the bits that they were doing in the second episode to be really, really funny. And I'm really excited for that episode to come out, because I think people will meme it a lot and make a lot of good jokes about it. So yeah, that was great. Also, the CrunchyRoll Expo Twitter account posted a video about it, and I show up in the video, kind of. You can like see my wig. You can see my friends sitting there, and you can see my wig in the video. I'll see if I can put it on the screen. So yeah, that was great. And finally, the final thing I have to talk about is the artists of CrunchyRoll. And I'm going to try to talk about this relatively quickly because my voice is going away completely. But the artists of CrunchyRoll, of the CrunchyRoll Expo, this is one of the main reasons I come to these expos, is for the art. There are so many artists, and it is so cool to just walk through and see all of the different merch, see all of the different artists who are putting so much love into the things that they have a passion for. As someone who does a reaction and review YouTube channel on anime because I love it so much, like, I understand putting passion into making something for something you love, you know? And these artists have a billion times the talent that I will ever have. There was so much cool stuff. Just just straight away, the stuff that I bought. Like, I bought these little keychains that I have on my bag here. So I got this Chiaki Nanami one right here, and I got this Miko Ino from Kaguya-sama, and I got another one. Where is it? Here it is. Shinomiya from Kaguya-sama as well. So I got that stuff. I don't know if it's in here. There it is. I also just got a couple, art prints of Maki from Danganronpa V3, and of Kaguya and Chika from Kaguya-sama, and that it was done. I hope this is right. Yes, it is. That was done by Kichu, Cactus Key. I unfortunately don't have the people who did the keychains. I'm really sorry about that, but I just found this within the bag, so I thought I should give credit to the artist here. This is Cactus Key. So if you liked that art that I just showed, go check her out, because it was really, really great. And very, very nice people. All of the artist booths had very, very nice people. I did buy some other stuff, but but those are the main things that I bought and that I have on me right now. Some of the other stuff I bought is locked away in other places. But anyway, I think that brings an end to me talking about the convention. My throat is almost completely gone, so thank you very much. If you watched this entire video, I mean, good job, well done. And thank you for watching this video. And I hope you enjoyed me talking about this stuff. Yeah, that was CrunchyRoll Expo Melbourne 2022. I hope to go to more anime conventions in the future. It was so much fun. It was mostly fun hanging out with my friends, but the convention was great as well. I do hope they sort out some of the organizational stuff and just make it a smoother experience overall, especially for the people who it really affected this time, such as the people who weren't able to get in, and the artists and other people who might have been majorly affected by it. But regardless, thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.